Hello and welcome everyone to another video, and today we're going to take a look at a team that I'm currently using in the Ultra League. Is a blue team with Swampert in the lead, with Walrein is as a safe swap and Aurorus as our closer here, a Shadow Walrein if I may add as our safe swap. So the reason behind it is because Swampert is weak to grass, and of course you have two Pokemon at the back that is quite decent against grass. Of course, both of our back line does take super effective damage against grass as well, but at least it can spam the super effective damage against them in a jiffy here. Of course, one of the things that our backline does not want to meet would be this Cobalion. If it was against our Walrein with some energy advantage, maybe we can threaten it with the Earthquake, and that is why we use it as a safe swap. However, Cobalion with the Sacred Sword is super spammy, and with the addition with Double Kick, it can get to the Sacred Swords in an average of 3 fast moves, which is very fast, especially considering the bulk that it has. It means that it can spam a lot of charge moves here, and here we do come up against them in a CMP tie. Let's see whether we can take them out, and we do. And their last Pokemon is a Greedent. Here we can safely throw our Hydro Cannon against the Greedent to soften it up, and immediately swap out into our Aurorus to do as much damage as possible. Anyways, this is their last Pokemon, so if they don't throw a crunch here, which they do not, we can just immediately go for double Meteor Beams, no problem, because this Greedent will be forced to shield something, and they did not shield that, and as you can see, that Meteor Beam almost one-shots the Greedent to take them out. And then we see here in the next game we have a Charizard in the lead, a very good lead for this team. Of course, we see a lot of Cobalions and Charizard or Talonflame in the leads, but this is not a Pokemon that we want to see. This is one of the problematic Pokemons for this team, simply because it's extremely bulky. It has a wide coverage of moves with Grass Knot, Moonblast, as well as Future Sight, so it can run any of those three. Usually is Moonblast with a combination of the other two. However, and this is where Cresselia gets very tricky, because there was a game, I think after these few sets that I've done, that I met a Future Sight Cresselia in the safe swap, which means that we almost got hit with a lot of damage, which we do not want. And either way, Cresselia is not a Pokemon that we want to meet against our team. And here they brought out a Cobalion, which we managed to hit an Earthquake on, and they run a close combat instead of a Sacred Sword, which was very lucky that we shielded it, because that would have brought us very low. And here is where we almost made a mistake. Here we went 1 over for some reason, but we did not manage to get the charge move through. And of course, Charizard being a little bit squishier than Talonflame, it means that one Hydro Cannon will be enough to one hit KO it, as opposed to a Talonflame. So we are not as pressured to do that Weather Ball damage. So there is some leeway against Charizard as compared to the Talonflame. And then here we get to a third Hydro Cannon against them and to take them out, and we can just mud shot the Cobalion down before they can get to another charge moves. So another good game that to the opponent, and here we have another Cobalion lead. Of course Ultra League is also very common and very littered with legendaries. However, I do not have these legendaries pumped up yet, simply because first of all I do not have the resources to grind it for multiple leagues, and then secondly, trying to find people to raid with is quite hard. Of course, I can always use remote raid passes. However, I am a mostly free to play player, so I don't tend to spend my money on raid passes, especially remote raid passes. So yeah, I try to make do with what I have. So you see other people have things like a XL Registeel or an XL Defense Deoxys and things like that. I do not have that. The only XLs I have for Ultra League is non-legendary Pokemons, which I assume everyone else also has. Even the Pokemon that I'm using in this team is fairly accessible, with 2 of them having community days. And if I'm not sure whether Swampert had a community day classic, but I'm pretty sure it has been we can evolve to get Hydro Cannon at least 4 times already. This for Swampert with Hydro Cannon, right? And then you have Auroras, which they had an event during its release with Tyrant, and you can catch a lot of it, so it's a very accessible team. And then yeah, so I had to make do with this team against all the legendaries, and we managed to get them on the CMP tie here, because we do not want them to somehow get a sneak to the Aqua Tail against us, so we can just let this go through. Anyway, we have to let it go through because we do not have any shields left, and here our Auroras will have to be very tricky in this position because they still have a Swampert at the back. So we are going to double up on the Weather Ball if possible here to do the back-to-back against them to take out both of their remaining Pokemons, and the first one does not kill them immediately, but we can safely take this crunch knowing that we will survive it. Since Auroras is a very tanky Pokemon, and we can take their Swampert out with this Weather Ball. So a very close match there at the end, but Auroras pulled through for us. And here we have a Talonflame in the lead, and then we have a Swampert as a safe swap. Another very tricky Pokemon as a safe swap against this team, because Swampert has access to Earthquake, which does a lot of damage, which you would see in a moment, because we decided to throw this Icicle Sphere thinking that they might shield the bait, but they don't shield it at all. And here we immediately throw a second Icicle Sphere hoping to take them out, but they decided to shield it, which is fine. And then here we are going to take this Earthquake to the face because we do not want to go 2 shields down, and as you can see, it does quite a decent chunk of damage. And here is my first mistake of this game. I did not count it properly and thinking that maybe I could get that extra 1 Powder Snow through, but it turned out to be a CMP tie if I'm mistaken. So they win that CMP tie, and here we managed to get some chip damage here with the Icicle Sphere against the Talonflame. We come back in with the Swampert, but of course they will throw a Brave Bird and most probably dip into their third Pokemon, and it is Alolan Ninetales. We are going to be going straight for the Meteor Beam. We are not going to take any chances. We are going to line our charge move timing perfectly during their fast move so that they get minimal extra energy from us, and we are going to be able to tank this Psyshock, and it will come down to the wire on whether or not we are able to get to the Meteor Mash, but we do get it in the nick of time. If our first Meteor Beam did not go through at the optimal timing, they would have been able to farm us down, which would not be ideal for our Swampert, which is very low on health. And here we are able to get to Hydro Cannon to take the Talonflame out, and we are immediately going to the next game against the Alolan Muk lead. And here is the dreaded save swap. Any other save swap, we still have a decent play. But if we see a Scrafty in any position, whether it's the lead or the save swap, it is going to be trouble, because Scrafty, as you can see here, can go, of course here they go for a foul play, but it's even worse if they go straight for the for power up punch, which would be devastating for us here. As you can see, they are going to get to the foul play. They are going to try to get to another power punch, but they are not able to get it. I think this was, oh yeah, there will be another match later where Scrafty will just run havoc on my team, but it is fine. And here we try to get to Earthquake, but we did not. But we are going to just let it go, because we need to save shields for Swampert, just in case the backline is somehow horrible for Auroras. And here we are going to come back in with the Swampert against them, and immediately throw the Earthquake here against them to make sure to give them a bit of a risk, right? Risk taking if they wanted to, and they decided to not shield it, and we can come into Auroras to just go straight Powder Snow into a double up range to take them out. Here I believe that throwing Shadow Ball is not the right play, because Shadow Ball of course does a lot more damage, but it is neutral as compared to Seed Bomb is super effective against Auroras. And here they decided to quit the battle before we can throw the killing move against them, and we have a Armored Mewtwo against us in this next game. And knowing Armored Mewtwo here, I've used Armored Mewtwo before, and I know it has access to Dynamic Punch and Rock Slide, which are both super effective against our Walrein. So we have to be very we have to balance it out as best as possible if we could. Of course here we did not time it properly. They swap out into their Talonflame to get one full Incinerate through, and here they are going to throw a Brave Bird straight at our Walrein, which means that Swampert can try to go for the full farm down. Of course it is not very ideal for us, but we decided to throw because the farm down was just not able to happen. But they decided to throw as well another Brave Bird against us, so we are just going to shield it for safe measure, keep our Swampert relatively healthy, and somehow or another they did not get a confusion there, which is not how it's supposed to be. And we tried to get them during the fast move animation and throw Earthquake just to take them out before they can throw another charge move, and we do get it through. And they have a Grand Bull at the back versus two very healthy Pokemon here. We can immediately throw the Meteor Beam against them, and they will most probably shield this, but they don't. However, this is already a game over. We are able to win this very easily with Auroras. We can shield their double super effective Meteor Mash if needed, if we had a shield of course, but we did not. So yeah, we can still win it against Swampert if needed. And here they have a Steelix in the lead with a Giratina as a safe swap. And here you will find that it is a very comfortable matchup because you're in the lead. Of course, the safe swap also we win it, and we do get to a second charge move before they get to a first charge move, which is very peculiar because even though Dragon Breath does not generate that much how do you say it, energy, it should be getting to at least a Dragon Breath by now. Unfortunately, they did not get to Dragon Breath because they tried to go for a Shadow Force, which we shielded, and decided to just top left because they know that we can get to Earthquake on their Steelix, and then we can get to another Earthquake on our Swampert as well. And then here is the game where we get annihilated by the Scrafty here. If I'm not mistaken, they go straight power up punch, which is the worst case scenario for us, because here that means that it means that we have to shield up some of their moves. Unfortunately, they shielded up our Earthquake, which is not very ideal. They have invested in both shields against us. And here we try to swap immediately into our Walrein here, thinking that we might be able to get to an Earthquake against this Crafty, but instead now they're triple boosted counters against us. We have nowhere to go and we have no shields to save us from this Crafty, and we are just going to top left here. There is no point in continuing this game. So what is the most irritating Pokemon to face with your team? Do let me know down in the comments. I would really like to know what is your worst matchup that you can see right currently in the meta. And here we have, going back to the battles, we have an Ash/slash Mandibuzz against us. They will do resisted damage against our Auroras, which is very good. We can throw one Meteor Beam here against them, and we can just safely farm it down all the way. And here I tried to be cute with them, thinking that I can maybe get Meteor Beam against their Galvantula. However, in hindsight, I could have made the match a bit better by throwing double Weather Balls instead, because here they will go for a CMP to take us out. It's still fine, we still have Swampert in the back to take them out. However, we swap out into Giratina, and we do have Walrein against them with a shield advantage, which is exactly where we want them. And they do throw an Ancient Power, which is fine because Ancient Power is still a fairly weak move, I would say. It, of course, even though with the damage buff that it had a few, I think was it this season or last season, but yeah, it's still a fairly weak move. It does not one-shot a Walrein, but we do get that out of the way. And here we can get to another Icicle Sphere against the Galvantula to take their last shield away before we can come in with our Swampert to take them out. But of course, we have to shield this just in case it was an energy ball. Some people do run it, and we can just go to the Earthquake to take them out here in the last game for this video. So if you like this video, do let me know what you think about it. Leave a like and a comment, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye.